Rick, how you
Oh,
doing?
I'm good, Keith. How are you?
Good, good. The title of this podcast is How Judging Others in Life Can Cause You Suffering. And this is inspired by something that Michael Singer said. And the minute that I heard him say it, I was like, oh, that's Keith 1.0. That's my personal self. And so what he was saying was that we have these limited experiences, life situations, people, places, whatever it is. And we take those experiences, we judge them, create a narrative around them, and they become all that we know about those situations or those people. I mean, all of it. And so it'd be the equivalent of me having one experience with Rick Strom. And let's say that you were somewhere and I opened the door for you and you walked in without saying thank you. And immediately I have this whole narrative about who you are, like you're this rude person. I see you wearing a hat and it's political. I take it to be a political hat, and I have an opposite position that I take politically. I've summed up who you are in a moment. When I was in the military, and the first day I got to Yuma, Arizona, remember I wanted to be in Tennessee next to with my high school girlfriend, but I'm in Yuma, Arizona. It was a June day. It was 115.
Oh
10,
boy.
10 minutes of arriving in Yuma on a Greyhound bus. I knew all there was to know about Yuma. And so, no, I didn't. But Michael Singer says, he says, we do this and it becomes how we interact with people. It dictates that, and it dictates how it runs our whole lives. He said it would be the equivalent of me handing you a 500-page book, you reading the first word and saying, I know what this book is all about.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, that's
You know
right.
nothing about the book, but we live like that all the time. So I'm going to
Sure.
stop there, and I want you to go ahead and share with you what comes up for you when you think about this title, how in that story of Michael Singer of how judging others in life can cause you suffering.
Oh my God, that's I mean, that's like the story of my life for the first 30 years. I think the I think the sad part is we don't realize we're doing it. We think we think that we've got a great analytical mind and we really know people, or we really understand, the forces that are out there, when we don't understand a lot of anything. And so we give ourselves much too much credit, and much too early, in the analysis. But I think part of it is just the complication that comes with living. Unless we make judgments about everything, you're always struggling to figure out what's what. But if you can make a snap judgment, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's kind of a lazy way to go through life, particularly when you're dealing with other people, and people being so important to us and having a relationship with them. You just basically cut your nose off to spite your face. You may have somebody who is politically opposite, but that person may also have experienced a suicide low, and you may have experienced that as well. And so you have that in common. There's many, 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 many more things that we have in common with people who we think are opposite than we're willing to acknowledge. We're all basically, I think, pretty similar. We all want things that are some measure of security, some measure of creativity, some measure of respect and self-respect, and some measure of financial security. We want things better for our kids. Those are things we share with everybody. I don't care where you are politically, or how hot it is in Yuma, or what the difference is that you're expecting or wanting it to be. It always goes back to suffering comes from your expectations. And if you expect someone to have the same political views as you and they don't, you're going to suffer for it, at least to the extent that you're not going to have a relationship with somebody who may turn out to be, or could have turned out to be, someone very powerful, empathetic, and someone who could be a great friend. So I guess I would be wondering from you, since you went through that experience, how has the practice changed that for you, if it has?
Well, thank you so much, Rick. I love your perspective. How it's changed for me is I know that when that happens, it's my personal mind that's talking. And I've learned 7, 8 years ago to not listen to it. So literally, I don't listen to it. I lean
Yeah,
back like that's not it.
no, that's not it.
And so I've created this immediately like response team, that when my mind is like about to make a snap judgment, I'm like, we're not commenting on that. And that little break is a break in before the judgment starts to form and the narrative start to gather, come together and to be composed. So I have that space to be like, I don't know enough information to make a judgment. And then even if I find more information, remember, I'm committed to being unconditionally loving. But so I have that break, so that's been helpful. But before I started to approach life and people this way, man, I was a mess. I was making all kind of rash judgments, and I was writing "this is who people are" all the time. They would do one thing. Let's say it wasn't their best moment. It's too late.
You'll get one crack at it, and that's
Yeah,
it.
one crack, and you blew it. You blew it. And then when I started doing the practice, I guess my bridge to get there was I would notice that other people would like them, or other people had great respect for them. So I started asking, like, what is it about this person that I'm missing? And then they would tell me like who that person was for them. So that was helpful to get to help me get there. Or what do you like about like I don't get fishing. What do you like about fishing? Or what do you like about like this that I don't get? And they would tell me what they liked about it. And then I started to see it from that perspective. And then as I deepened my practice, I no longer needed that technique. What it just became is like, I want to be open to everything. Like my mind is very limited. It's had one experience and it thinks that limited experience was the best. It baffles me when people travel places for the first time and they go there, oh, I'll never go back there again. I'm like, dude, you were there for like a day or even 2 days or whatever, and you never going back there because you had one experience that didn't, as you mentioned, meet your expectation. You were attached to a certain outcome. No, I'm like, a lot of people living here and they seem to be smiling, having fun. I mean, so that's been great. It amazes me. People will walk into Mayo Clinic and you got a few people that they complain about the staff and they complain about, it not being this way or that way. I'm like, but there are a lot of people that come here who love the place.
Yeah.
So your limited experience is what is causing that, right? Whenever I went, right now there is this awareness about, the sense of belonging to different places and communities, organizations, and things like this. Everyone's trying to work on creating a sense of belonging for people. And first and foremost, that's an inside job. When my mind was dictating how I saw the world, I didn't belong anywhere. Like seriously, this is not for me. Yuma's not for me. That club is not for me. This is not for, I belong nowhere. That friendship, who you hanging out with, that's not for me. But the minute I start working for myself, oh, it's amazing. Like what belongs to me. I live in Northern Scottsdale, Rick, and literally if I define a sense of belonging around my biological race, I would say in a 30-day period, 29 of those days, I would feel no belonging. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not limited by needing that, right?
That's right.
And this is for me. For other people, it's different. Like for you, it may be different. But for me, I don't define it by that. I define it by not needing life for people to be a certain way for me to be okay inside. So like, I'm going to go play pickleball today. I mean, it's likely that I won't see another person of color on the court. And guess what? I'm going to have a blast. I'm going to meet so many great friends today, people I've never met before, because I don't need it to look a certain way for me to be okay. Now, the old me was different. I literally would come to the court. I'll look at the court and, and the metaphor would be here. The first word of the chapter of this 500-page book would be me looking at the court. And I'd be like, nope, not for me today. It's going to be a horrible game. Now I get to the court. I'm like, oh my God, man, there's so many possibilities here. Who am I going to play with? What fun are we going to have? What am I going to learn today? And that is how I try to approach life, and it's really served me well. And so I feel a sense of belonging everywhere I go. And and as you mentioned, Rick, that's an inside job. At least it is for me.
No, it's for everybody, Keith. All of us need that inside job for sure. That's a beautiful thing. That's a great arc for your experience to have realized what your limitations were and how getting rid of those limitations and expectations opened you up, opened your heart up for other things to happen. You're holding space for something that changes, and that opens up so many more opportunities for you. I kind of liken it like, once you get rid of those expectations about other people, it's kind of like diving into Wikipedia or a set of encyclopedias in my day, which don't exist any longer. The idea is there's so much richness, so much other stuff there that, you would have missed completely. But by not having those things, you can get lost in a library of good, interesting nuance and different perspectives. And it's just the variety is so compelling. Why wouldn't you want to mess with it?
Oh, 100%. I've seen you do this when you travel, Rick. You are so open to all experiences. I've seen you do this when you hike, and we've gone places. You're so open, different perspectives. Like I've been at your dinner table during Thanksgiving, and there are people that are different, sides of the political aisle, and you are just not judging people based on your limited experience with them. Like you're open to them sharing that. Most recently, I had an experience at Mayo, and with a colleague wanted to meet with me, and they had some pretty, strong words to say. And my ego, I was so grateful that I just leaned back, thanked them for sharing what they shared, asked them to help me learn to communicate, teach me how they want to be communicated to. And I could have taken all those words and strongly, the strong tone in which they express themselves as who they are. Man, I'm not doing that anymore. I've done that for decades of my life. No, I'm not allowing this one experience to be the summary for who that person is, or to be the summary of the whole book. I don't know them. I'm limited by my experiences, and I know that they are flawed. And so with that, I want to make sure that I just stay open, like for whatever is next. And no matter what I can be certain of is that I'm going to keep an open heart. I know that. Like I can't control what anybody else does, but I'm going to do that. So I just want to thank you, Rick, so much for this conversation about how judging others in life can cause you suffering. And I'm giving that up, Rick. I'm giving it up.
You're way down the path, brother. I love that. That's so cool.
Thank you, Rick. I love you.
I love you. We'll see you next time, buddy. Adios. Have a good week, man.
Are you too? Thank you.
Adios.